Welcome, welcome, welcome to Leaders in Purpose Media, Caring Community Social Intelligence. My name is Miss Lady CC, and I'm your host for our show tonight. Welcome to KPAO, our wonderful community television station here in Omaha, beautiful, wonderful Omaha, Nebraska. Before we get started with the show, we want to thank God for blessing us to be here. And also we want to give a moment of silence for our ancestors for being here so that we can learn from their mistakes as well as them giving us a boost up into our greatness. So let's open the show with prayer. Dear God, we thank you so much for us being here. We thank you so much, first of all, for you being so good, great, fantastic, wonderful, excellent, and marvelous. We thank you that you represent the family, that you want us to be here on earth when you said, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. We thank you that you are represented in that, and that we are your children that you told to be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth, and take care of it and dress it. We not only fill it with children, but we fill it with our gifts and talents. And we praise you for being in us, so that we can grow and be what you want us to be. Now we want to have a moment of silence for our ancestors, because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here. Okay, we want to thank you for that. Today we have a wonderful family here in Omaha, Nebraska, that I've known her for years and years and years, and her family for years and years and years. And in this day and age, they're going to tell you about how they being a family of five, with a family of five with husband and wife, how they're making it, not only at work, not only homeschooling, and not only being a domestic engineer, but just making it in this day and age. So welcome, welcome, welcome to Leaders in Purpose tonight, and we're talking to Miss Angelica, Miss Allen, Mr. and Mrs. Stevenson and family.
What time?
You want to say hi?
Can everybody say hi, please?
Hi.
Okay. Can everybody introduce themselves? Can you tell the camera your name and your age?
6, and my name is Elena. 5, Adis. I am
What's your name? What'd you say?
Say I'm Arayan.
How old are you, Arayan?
He's 2. He's 2. That's
Okay.
Arayan. He's 2.
Okay, next. What's your name and how old are you?
I'm 3 and I'm Amra.
Okay, look at the camera. Say in the camera.
I'm 3 and I'm Amra.
All right. Come on.
And it's Alex and I'm 8.
All righty. All right.
I am Angelica and I am 33 years young.
Okay, and then her husband, he's helping me with the cameras today.
I think he's 35.
But I believe he's getting ready to come over here so you can see him as well.
Can I do it?
No, back up.
Adis.
Back up.
Adis.
That way.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Uncover 1 ear.
All right.
And my name's Alan, and I am 35.
Okay. This is the Stevenson family. And Alan and Angelica, they've been married for how many years?
9.
Mine.
9, I think. Because he's about to be 9.
Got married 2011, about to be 2010. Yep.
There's 2000.
Oh, 2020. Yeah, it'll be 9. We'll be married for 9 years this year and together for 10 years.
Wow, their marriage time it look like it's flying by so fast. Those 10 years like just one.
Yeah.
Wow, that's wonderful. That's really wonderful. Alan and Angelica, how did y'all meet?
Ha!
Yeah. We met at a church poetry event where a friend took me out one day to get out the house and lift my spirits. So we went to an event at that veterinarian place on Maple, and he was a poet, guest poet at that event. Ellen, stop.
Yeah, what she said. Nah, yeah. It was like a church event, and I was just trying to be funny, to be honest. At the table, she was trying to be all stone-faced, and my goal was to try to make her laugh. And then one day, there was like another poetry event, and we took this really long car ride after it was over, and it was like 2 hours of driving around.
That's a lot.
But we got to know each other really well on that car ride, and here we are. So,
and it was happy times ever since, as you can see. 5 wonderful, beautiful, fantastic, excellent, wonderful, marvelous children. Okay, and in this era of COVID-19, where we're supposed to keep our face mask and our hands with gloves on them, it is interesting right now. Our black men and our black people, the COVID virus is hitting them differently, where we are suffering, we're getting blood clots. And after those blood clots, it just kills us like boom, right there. And the men, they start feeling something in their, pains in their extremities. And for the women, we just feel something's not right. So you could check your sources, which will show you that this COVID-19 affecting us is very, very differently. So please, please, please take care of yourselves, my people. Okay, Alan and Angelica, in this age of COVID-19, what do you think about it, and how's it affecting you, your family, your lifestyle?
As far as like lifestyle,
Turn the camera.
it hasn't been
You want to get in?
it hasn't been too rough on their day-to-day activities, because we always found things to do for them. So they're, yeah, of course, you know, not being able to go to certain events, that's always a thing, but they've always found a way to make their own fun. So, and on that perspective, it's not really getting too much. As far as me, like directly, I still go to my office, but a lot of my people around me, at this point, they're working from home. And, you know, it's just the weirdness that this is causing, I would say, is something that does impact me. Like when you go to a store or wherever, and, you know, you see everyone masked up, you know, just watching the culture shift with how things have changed. That's the part that has the mental impact on me. So, but yeah.
Angelica, how's this affecting you as far as the children going to school and getting used to them being home, and you know, what are their, and you already got their ages, how does that affect you?
Well, to be honest with our family, it didn't affect us transition-wise from school because I homeschool them.
How long you been homeschooling?
Homeschooling starts in the womb. So I've been doing it personally myself since my son was in my womb. However, his teaching has started from when I was in my mom's womb, when she was in her womb, and ancestors and ancestors and ancestors in their womb. So that didn't change anything for us. The only thing that's different is be able to take them to more places like Chuck E. Cheese or the park. You know, they ask, or their art classes or the Boys and Girls Club that they would go to. They would ask why they can't go because it was part of their routine. So you know, I talked about it. We talked about with them what's going on. Sorry if you see some. Okay, I've got to breastfeed. If you see some breasts, sorry and not sorry at the same time. We talk to them, and you know, we tell them what's going on, what's up, and we'll get back to those day-to-day activities once everything's situated.
Okay, it's been 10 minutes. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. And during this break, Amra, she's nursing right now, but she wanted to sing a song. But since she's nursing Elena, will you go ahead on and sing your song, please?
Oh, she done. No? Okay, go ahead, Amra.
And Amra, will you go sit up there and sing your song? Go in front of the camera.
Right there. Just stand right here.
Come back. Come back.
Come here. Stand right here.
Only a little back.
Okay.
And
Just
okay, go.
tell us, Alex. Is that cool? Okay, sing your song.
I think I'm.
You don't want to sing it?
It's your heart one. You said something about the heart?
He said I love my heart.
Oh, okay. Will you sing your I Love My Heart song, please?
I don't know.
You wanna do? Okay. Elena, did you want to sing?
No
Sing
song? Go
another
ahead.
song.
Go ahead and sing it.
But she can sing mine.
All right. Can I sing your song?
Sure.
Okay, I'll sing you guys my daughter's song that I made for her. You ready? Amra asked me, you are wonderful, self-confident. You are so. Amra asked me, you are wonderful, self-confident soul. Amra asked me.
Yay! Okay, we got several seconds to go. Does anybody else want to sing a song or something? We got some seconds. Anybody else want to do something? Look at me. Anybody else want to do something? No? Okay.
I do.
All right, what do you want to do, Amra?
You gotta let go of my nipple.
Okay, get up in front of the camera. Turn around. Come back here. Come back a little. Come here. Turn around and face the camera. Right there. Sing your song. Do whatever you want to do.
I think I'm gonna
Okay, whatever you want to
Do
do.
a dance, girl.
Do your
You
dance.
just gotta face the camera.
Do your dance.
Uh-oh. Get it. Get it. Get it. Go. Get it. Get it. Get it. Don't shake the camera. Just hold it still. Get it. Yay! Good
Keep
job.
and you don't want to move it like all the time, Alex. Okay. So my grandson. This is my daughter and my son-in-law. These are my grandbabies. Okay. So my grandson, he's on the camera, and so he's I'm very, very careful. Okay, he's not breaking nothing. It's all good. It's all good. But he is helping us out learning. His dad, he does videography as well. Mm-hmm. So he's has some exposure to it because of his dad.
Alan Stevenson Media.
Okay, and they will be have a chance to tell about themselves. Okay, now so you got together. And how many did you plan on having 5 children? Did you want 5 children, and do you want some more?
Yeah, put it towards us. Okay, so
You want to make sure you have everybody in.
everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay, so we've had 6 children, 5 in the flesh, 1 in the spirit. We actually went on a date to, was it Denny's or something? Perkins on one of our dates, and we were talking about that, about how many children that we each would want. Make sure y'all do that when you're dating folks, make sure that comes up. That's stuff you need to talk about. So I mentioned that I want 2 children, a boy and a girl, and he said honestly that he doesn't want to have children, but he's always felt that he would have a boy and a girl too. So
And 2 boys and girls are me and Alex.
yeah, so they actually all came in order: boy, girl, boy, girl, boy, girl. My friend later, like years later, Sister Sherry, she said to me that since we each wanted a boy and a girl, that's why we had 4 at that time when we had 4, because we each wanted 1 boy and 1 girl, so it got a combination of 4.
Wow. And do you want any more children?
I'm good. He's definitely good. If it happens, I would like to catch the baby and try a water birth.
I don't blame you.
Why would you have a water birth?
Because I've heard it's more, that's a great question, Elena. The baby, when they're inside the mommy, they're already in water. So when they come out in water, it's a familiar territory. They're going from water to water.
The water turned red?
Yep, the water will turn red from the blood.
And what she's talking about is what I had looked for when I had my children, and what she's talking about is called the method of childbirth. It's called the nonviolent birth, which is actually the most superior way to having children, besides us going back to the motherland and having our children like our ancestors did. But with the laborious method of childbirth, it's called a nonviolent, and the baby is born in water. And the reason is this: like she said, when the baby's in the mother's womb, it's in the amniotic fluid, and so it's not used to its weight. When the baby comes out of the womb, it has to get used to its weight, and it's heavy. So it's real unfamiliar with the baby. And so when the baby is born in water, it stays in that water, and it gets used to its weight very, very as it wants to, very gradually. With the laborious method of childbirth, the lights are dimmed, and there's no noise. And the reason why, when the baby is in the womb, the baby does see, but the baby just sees shadows and images. That's all the baby sees. So when the baby is born with these bright lights and it's blinking, and that's because the eye is hurting the baby's eyes, because the baby's not used to those bright lights. So that's why you want to be low light. And then with the noise, the baby's in the womb, the baby hears noise, but it's muffled. You don't hear it, but it's muffled. So when the baby comes out and is hearing all this noise, it hurts his ears. It hurts his ears. And then another thing too, and my daughters, the ones that, let's see, I know when I had my children, I didn't take any medication with mine, because going down the fallopian tube, going down the birth canal out the vagina is a very tumultuous, T-U-M-U-L-T-O-U-S, tumultuous time. Very, very rough, very rough. And when you take all that medication, that medication relaxes that baby. It makes that baby drugged. So it's really hard for that baby to take that ride down through the birth canal and come out. And so that's why, I chose, and I believe my daughters chose, not to take any medication unless they really had to when our children and my grandbabies were being born, because it helped them to deliver themselves. And then another thing with the laborious method of childbirth, the cord. The cord is not cut until it stops pulsating, because the baby is breathing through that cord. When you cut that cord right away, that forces that baby into the air and into another world, and it's not used to it. So you wait till that cord starts pulsating until it can breathe on its own, and that's why. The laborious method is a much, much better method of childbirth. And I think you can only do it in California.
Huh?
It's not available here.
You can do it. You can have a home water birth, and you can accidentally have a water birth in a hospital. But if you really want it all natural water birth, you can do it at home.
Now, I thought having the babies at home were illegal.
No, it is not illegal to have a home birth in Nebraska. It is illegal for licensed and medical professionals to be at home births in Nebraska.
Okay, that's good to know. Now, Angelica chose to nurse. Angelica, why did you choose to nurse? I mean, a lot of women say, I don't want to nurse because it hurt my breasts will be all out of shape. It'll hurt my. The baby gonna be pulling on my nipples. What do you think about that?
If that's how they flow, that's how they flow. About them. With me, because that's what you as my mom, that's what you taught us, the natural ways of breastfeeding. It's natural. It's what my breasts are here for. It's for my child to drink milk. So.
And what's so wonderful about that milk?
It's healthy and there's lots of nutrients in it.
And it also builds that baby immune system like never before. It builds the immune system, so it gives that baby a fighting chance against everything that could be going on. So that's what's so wonderful about that. Homeschooling. You've homeschooled for a while. For how many years, you said?
8 years.
8 years. How did you tell us about that? You hear me? Because some of these parents are out here homeschooling, and some of them it's like flabbergasting. Some it's like, whoa. Some it's like, what kind of advice would you give for parents for homeschooling? She's been doing it for 8 years, y'all.
Let's see, yes, good doodles. Okay, so I officially didn't start homeschooling until I had to get Alex signed up for like first or second grade, time to fill out the paperwork. But before that, I just taught him, like we used YouTube. There's a lot of good YouTube channels like Have Fun Teaching, Leapfrog, and daily life and how you talk to your children, dressing, cooking, cleaning is helping your children to learn and to be educated. Homeschooling is more of Alan's thing because it's more organized. I'm more of an unschooling type of parent, and unschooling is where you allow the children learn based off their interest and their passion. So, we do our best to balance both unschooling and homeschooling for our children.
And what's so interesting about what Angelica just said, I was taking classes at Metro actually to be a home care education teacher, and if you look at the preschools and the home care centers that teach in your big cities and in your real prominent communities, the ones in China and the ones in other areas like that, that's how they're teaching the children who go to private schools. Angelica's way, they call it unlearning. They teach the child based on their gifts and their talents, and you grow from there. And it's really amazing to see that. It just blew me away. And Angelica, she just did this naturally because it's just amazing. It's just totally amazing.
Mm-hmm. It definitely also gives you a chance to get to know your children. Like, it gives me a chance to see them and to learn them and to observe them, to know what they like, and it also helped me to go for my own goals and dreams. Because I'm teaching them and letting them do it, then I need to be that example for them to see. And I just basically, the main thing I had to learn is to do what works best for us as a family, and not compare myself and compare my children to everybody else.
That's
and to
good.
their children and to what they're doing. If it works, if what somebody else does works for them, it works. If it doesn't, then that's okay. I can just try something else.
And see, that's really interesting too, because growing up, I know when I grew up, my daughters, when I was raising them, we had to stick to a certain regimen, a certain this and a certain that and a certain this. And being raised, especially in the ministry, you had to act this way and act this way and act this way. And I love the free way all my daughters teach. They teach them based on their abilities and their gifts and talents, and it's really a much better way, parents. Our children is going into the system just right and left and left and right. We don't have when we were brought here as prisoners of war and made into chattel slaves, they totally broke up our family unit. We were pulled apart. We weren't taught. We couldn't teach each other our culture. We couldn't even stay with the parents. The children were sold here. The mom was sold over here, and the dad was sold over there. And there's been no mental health help for the melanated community ever since then. And because of that, our families are scattered, and we try to take on other people's cultures. We take on the European culture, the Asian culture, the Latino culture, everybody but our own culture. And there's nothing wrong, with respecting other cultures, but our culture is the culture that laid the foundation to civilizations. And this culture, and we don't know our culture, and because of that, our children and our families, we have no connectivity, nothing that connects us with that's familiar. Like growing up, we would always, okay, just to say the holidays. We knew that when we doing Christmas time that we baked cookies. Remember the cookies we baked growing up? What cookie?
No.
You don't remember? You don't remember baking cookies?
No. It's okay. Go ahead, Mama.
Oh, okay. We made chocolate chip cookies and sugar cookies.
You mean like for Christmas dinner we all would make something?
Yes.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Do you remember us making the Christmas the gingerbread houses together out of graham crackers? Remember when we did that?
I
A little
did.
bit, yes.
Huh?
Alex, don't move the camera.
Okay. So family traditions like that were lost, when we were brought here as prisoners of war and made into chattel slaves. And because of that, we're everywhere, helter-skelter everywhere. So parents, please stop our children from going into the system. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that tonight, about the authoritarian way of disciplining children, because I believe that's one of the main reasons our children is in the system. So we got 2 more minutes left. Any last minute?
Alan, your turn about homeschooling.
I think that I know that when we first started to do it, I was, I had my reservations because, the people always say, how is your child going to get the socialization with other children? And that was one of my main things too. And since I went through public school, and there's just certain things you experience through public school that you just don't with homeschool, and vice versa. Certain things with the homeschooling you just don't have happen. For me it's been an up and down thing, because I always battled with what I went through versus how this looks. So we make it. I'm a fan of it. Sometimes I worry about my children and their reading, but my daughter will read a book and it shows me that it's working. So yeah, it has its ups and downs, but in the end it's effective.
This is Leaders in Purpose Ministry, Leaders in Purpose, Care and Community Social Intelligence. We're with Angelica and Alan Stevenson family, and we want to thank you so much for chiming in.